We're honored to be partnering with the Alan Jackson Ministries, and today I want to point you to their podcast. It's called Culture and Christianity, the Alan Jackson Podcast. What makes it unique is Pastor Alan's biblical perspective. He takes the truth from the Bible and applies it to issues that we're facing today: gender confusion, abortion, immigration, Doge, Trump, and the White House, issues in the church. He doesn't just discuss the problems. In every episode, he gives practical things we can do to make a difference. His guests have incredible expertise and powerful testimonies. Each episode will make you recognize the power of your faith and how God can use your life to impact our world today. The Culture and Christianity podcast is informative and encouraging. You could find it on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Alan Jackson Ministries is working hard to bring biblical truth back into our culture. You can find the Culture and Christianity podcast, sermons, and other thought-provoking teachings on our Pastor Alan's YouTube channel at Alan Jackson Ministries. Joining us now is Gadi Saralta, Director of the U.S. Marshals. Mr. Saralta, great to see you, and thank you for the great work that you are doing. The takeover, you did a takeover of Washington, D.C. You're helping facilitate it, and you've done a bunch of patrols. Just walk our audience through what exactly is happening on the streets of Washington, D.C. You're a law enforcement guy, and the dramatic change since President Trump authorized the federal takeover of our nation's capital.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Charlie. It's quite an honor to be on your show.
Thank you.
What we are doing here is we are coordinating with 20 different federal law enforcement agencies to assist the Metropolitan Police Department in effectuating a crime surge, or I should say an anti-crime surge, crime prevention surge. That has netted some pretty impressive results. The one I like to talk about the most is the 115 guns taken from the hands of folks that should not have guns, the criminal element, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to quantify how many lives we may have saved in doing that. And President Trump has entrusted the United States Marshal Service to coordinate this impressive law enforcement effort with all the other federal agencies, and we're honored for that.
So what are you hearing on the ground? And is it correct now that is it 13 days without a murder? If we missed a murder last night, I don't want to misspeak, but I believe it's 13 straight days. Is that streak still going?
It was 12 straight days, and we did have a homicide last night. We're still looking into it because the man was found with a wound to his torso in the middle of the hallway of his apartment building. So, we're still looking into that to see what impact or what exactly happened there.
That's too bad. So that's why I asked the question the way I did. However, 12 straight days is a remarkable accomplishment. Let's play some piece of tape here. And I know that you guys did a ride along and the press has kind of come with. Let's go to this one here. Let's go to Stephen Miller, play cut 304, please.
No police officer working in the city can remember a time in their lives when there has been no murders. You can work at the police department for 20 years, 30 years, your whole life. We've checked the records. No one can even find a record of being murder-free for as long as we've been murder-free under President Trump's leadership. The street criminals here in Washington, D.C. were doing business directly with the transnational criminal cartels, the foreign terrorist organizations. So not only was the city being run by these criminal thugs, but they were working with some of the most dangerous terrorist organizations on the planet to traffic weapons and drugs into this city. And what we are uncovering every day is shocking to us, and we look forward to sharing all the results with you. But President Trump, your leadership has uncovered some of the great public safety scandals of our life, and now because of you, people are safe and free for the first time ever in this city.
What are you learning as the head of the U.S. Marshals? What actually is working for this dramatic drop in crime?
Well, actually arresting people. That's something that wasn't happening here in Washington, D.C. With any consistency. There's still a lot of work to do. The D.C. Council here, unfortunately, has hamstrung the law enforcement efforts. That is something that President Trump and our very tough AG, Pam Bondi, are working on. There's a revolving door process here, Charlie. There's no cash bail. I mean, there's no accountability. If you commit a crime, they let you right out. I mean, they're overworking these cops, and essentially, President Trump has unhandcuffed law enforcement here by bringing in law enforcement that are not bound by those silly rules and anti-peace and quiet rules that this DC Council has.
Let's go to cut 314. This is a longer clip, but it's very, very important. This is Fox's Alexis McAdams, who rode along with you to make DC safe again. And listen carefully to the end of the clip. The wanted man who says, quote, "The judge is going to say we will put him on a 3-day hold, and then once the 3-day hold is up, he never shows up." Basically, he's bragging, and he is saying that he'll be out in no time. These are repeat offenders. Everybody, this is what the Democrat Party has done, running our inner cities with crime. I think crime's the #1 issue in America and remains to be. Play cut 314.
So you see that White House right behind me? Well, we only went a matter of blocks to make some of these arrests as the Trump administration continues their crackdown on crime, and they sure were busy here in the nation's Capitol watch. Cameras rolling as we spent hours in different parts of Washington, D.C., and there were 2 men arrested when we were there, rolling up in high crime areas as the team served warrants for suspects wanted for a long list of violent crimes. Like what? Well, robbery, carjacking, assault, just to name a few. And these people were just all walking around D.C. They were not in custody. One man wanted in connection with an armed carjacking in Maryland told us that, "Why are you sending me back to jail? I won't even be there very long."
The judge is literally going to say we're going to put him on a 3-day hold. Then once the 3-day hold is up, and around who never shows up. I done been over DC jail 6 times for the same warrant. They never show up. DC jail has to release me. They release me. It's the same thing every time. The same thing every time.
And that clip is chilling. I can't quite understand what the young man is saying there. I think he's saying every time I show up, the judge is not there. So we're just releasing these violent criminals repeatedly back on the streets. Is that correct?
That is correct, Charlie. He is in particular discussing to a warrant that he has that they don't give enough time for the law enforcement agencies to extradite him to the jurisdiction, which is in Maryland. So that's what he's referring to. However, that's a perfect example. That is the most they'll hold them. 3 days. We had to fight to hold people for 48 hours just to process them into the federal system. I mean, it is a broken system. It is a system that needs to be looked at, and it's just not working.
Yes, I think. I mean, I beyond agree with that. Let's play another piece of tape here. By the way, what he was saying in the tape. They never show up. He has to release me. They release me. It's the same thing every year. So this is like an annual tradition for this carjacker. He just kind of does this, and they release me. Let's go to another piece of tape here. This involves you. Let's play cut 318, please.
Gadi Saralta, he's the current director of the U.S. Marshals Service. He was sworn in earlier this month, and he is running point for 20-plus agencies. Is D.C. safe?
Well, we're on our way there. We're working on it. As you can see, we still have work to do, but we've only been at this about 2 weeks.
What would you tell other people across the city that think they might be able to get away from you and your team?
Oh, they're not going to get away. What I would suggest is that they turn themselves in.
So, I mean, your background, you began your law enforcement career in the Miami-Dade Police Department. You have an amazing career. You were the police chief for Palmetto Bay, and so you know crime. What is the best way to handle a situation like DC? Forget the DC, kind of holding your hands behind your back and kind of preventing you. I'm sure you now have a clear operational picture of what DC needs. Does DC need more social workers? Does it need more cops? Does it need more enforcement? If you were now to write a prescriptive document to make sure crime dramatically goes down in DC, what would that be, sir?
Well, that would be to unhandcuff the police and to hold individuals. I think the biggest thing right now, excuse me, the biggest thing right now is the no cash bail. It's you essentially grabbing violent folks, putting them in jail, right? That's the cop's job, and then they're releasing them the same day, hours later. I mean that will never work. And then to add to that, the court system here, if it's not federal, they are giving probation to these individuals that are super violent. Folks that have been caught with guns once, twice, 3 times. I mean, I saw a driver of violence that had been arrested 15 times, and not held, obviously, at least 14 of those times. I don't know if he's in custody still, but that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at individuals that are consistently released. The laws here are made for the criminals. So the first prescription would be fix the laws in D.C.
In Washington, D.C., former MPD chief Robert Conti said the average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times before committing a homicide. 11 times. Is that consistent with some of what you are seeing firsthand during your short takeover of D.C.? 1 minute remaining.
Yes, I would add 11 times, and probably 3 or 4 of those times with a firearm.
Really? Wow. I mean, this is a choice, and President Trump deserves enormous and repeated standing ovations for having the courage and the care and the concern. And to see the Democrats pushing back against it, they are just pro-criminal at its core. I wish it was more complicated than that, but that's what they're doing. Mr. Serralta, thank you for your great work. Head of the U.S. Marshals, it is Gaddy Serralta, Director of U.S. Marshals. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Thank you. You see, you just got to love guys like that. He's a police officer, did the beat, ran a police chief, and boom, it's elevated U.S. Marshals, keeps his head down, is just doing the job. That's what you need. You just need guys that have done the actual work for 20 or 30 years, and they go, and it's no nonsense. It's straight to the point, just frontline warriors, just stoic, strong, and that is professional. I love that. Staff the government, 3,000 guys like that. Yes, sir. Here are the orders. We're not going to pander to criminals. Here's my unit. Here's the plan. We're going to get it done. Operationally secure. I love it. I think that is missing in so much of prior administrations. I'm thrilled President Trump. I could tell you there's tons of guys like that in the administration.